Are parents getting lazy, or are we as behavior analysts asking them to play a game they never signed up for? I was recently reminded of one of my favorite presentations that I did at ABAI with Dr. Merritt Shank, and he was doing his dissertation research on using behavior analysis with Little League. And in his talk, he made mention that there's a lot of things he would have loved to have done as a behavior analyst, interventions he would like to put into place, but they didn't fit the game of baseball, and he can't change the game. And he said he had to figure out how to apply our science with the game he was given, not the game that he wants. And I was thinking about that recently in the context of ABA because I've seen some discussions around parents not participating, not having buy-in. I've done a few trainings lately on this topic as well. And there seems to be this common theme that the parents just don't want to do it, or things have changed so much in the field of ABA. We're no longer as structured and regimented as we used to be. We don't expect as much of families as we used to, and what happened to the good old days kind of stuff. And just to clarify, I've been in the field since the good old days that I see people talk about, and I will personally take what we have going on right now. And I think back to when I first started in the field and I was told not to take clients if they couldn't do 40 hours a week. And parents had to sign really intense paperwork about things they would or wouldn't do with their child and sit in on sometimes 20 hours worth of workshops at the beginning and then several hours each month, and sometimes serve as the therapist for their child, which that still happens today in certain situations. But when I first started in the field, we basically went into people's homes, threw a book in front of their face and said, you are now a behaviorist and you will do everything we tell you to do. We were essentially dictating the terms of the game. And when parents wouldn't comply or struggled, we blamed them, and they usually lost services, or it was just a very contentious and difficult situation. And some of the criticisms I hear now is that parents want an easy fix. I'm not saying that never happens, but this idea that they won't implement my 20-step behavior plan, they're just lazy kind of stuff, or they don't listen to me. And I really think that we've been duped as the people being trained to train parents into thinking that our role is to go into homes or have people come to our clinics or go into schools and essentially convert people into just operating like we would. We are capable of doing, and usually a 2-hour session, we're trying to demand of someone to incorporate into their day-to-day life. As a parent, are you a parent? Have you ever, I know there are parent behavior analysts out there who know how hard it is to be consistent and follow what you know with the science. And then we're going into homes and trying to demand that busy parents join our game. So I would just offer to everyone that maybe we could flip things around. It would be a heck of a lot less stressful for ourselves if we change the expectation and understanding of our role in the lives of the people we're serving. And we understand that the job is not to try to take our science and make a whole entire new game, but to observe the game that exists and figure out how we can apply our science within that game. So maybe the new approach would be looking at how we can understand the game in front of us and adjust what we're doing accordingly. We have to start asking ourselves, how good is our science if it only works under perfect conditions? If there's a checklist of things where you're if all of these things don't happen, we're not going to be effective, then our science isn't very effective in an applied fashion. The more skilled and knowledgeable we are with how to observe the game we're given and take what we know about our incredible science and apply it in that situation, the more effective we're going to be, the less stressed and burnt out we're going to be, and the less stressed and burnt out we will be creating for the families and clients that we're serving. I would absolutely love to hear people's tips on how you're observing the game in front of you and addressing that, incorporating our science within that game, as opposed to trying to create an entirely new game that forces people to basically become mini behaviorists.